You're listening to Real and Raw Adoptee Talks with Emma Greenslade.
Hello and welcome. Welcome to today's show. And today I'm inviting my guest on. She's going to remain anonymous, which is absolutely fine. If some of you would like have a story to tell and don't want to put a name or face to your voice, then that's absolutely fine. We're here talking real and raw adoptee stories with me, Emma Greenslade, from Conscious Adoptees, helping adoptees to thrive where once they have struggled. So welcome to the show. And I would like to welcome my guest. She's calling herself Denise today. So welcome, Denise. Are you there?
Oh, yes. Yes, I'm here.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here.
Hi. How are you today?
Okay.
So the name of your talk today and your story is Lost. And
yeah.
So I think that we're in for a real treat with your being vulnerable, with your real and raw talk. Tell me, how did life start for you?
You mean from the beginning?
Yeah, wherever you want to start.
Yeah. When I was born, my mum had a bad heart. She couldn't keep me for other reasons, so I ended up in a home, and then I ended up being adopted.
What age were you when you went into the home?
A few weeks.
Oh, so very baby.
Yeah.
And at what age were you then, moved into your adopted home?
I think I was 1 year old.
Oh, okay. And so because your birth mother had heart difficulties, did that cause you health issues as a baby?
No, they checked me over.
Okay, that's good then. So you're adopted into your family. Did you have any siblings?
No, not at the time.
So it was just you.
Yes.
And so what happened next?
Yes, I had to keep going back into the hospital because I wouldn't feed because I was premature.
Right.
Yeah, eventually I got adopted by my mum now. I was 2 years old when she actually adopted me.
So she had you from a year and then adopted you at 2 years old. Is that right? Or did you go into two families?
No, I only went in one family. I think I was 6 months old actually when my mum actually got hold of me. Yes, and I was 2 when she finally adopted me.
So, when you what's your earliest memory?
When I was 10, when my mum told me I was adopted.
Right. And did you have brothers or sisters that were also adopted, or was it just you?
No, just me.
And from the early years of being in primary school, you didn't know you were adopted.
No.
Did you look like your family?
No.
So did you always have that kind of curiosity?
No, not really. Not at that age, no.
No. And so when you were 10 years old, how did that make you, she sat you down, did she? And did you understand what she was saying?
Yes, I didn't like it. I was very upset.
Mm. So what happened after she'd told you?
I found out off my grandma that one of my brothers had tried to contact me about that age, and my mum told him no, too young. So I went to live. I went to live with my grandma in Bridlington for a bit, and then when I was 18, I wanted to trace them, but I was too afraid, so I backed out. And then when I was what was that? Nearly 30, I contacted them.
You contacted your birth mother?
I put an advert in the paper.
Did you?
Yeah, which was, I shouldn't have done really, but I did. Because I found out my name.
Right. You found out your name from the newspaper article?
No, my mum gave me my birth certificate.
Oh.
So I found out by that my name, you know, my real name.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so you put a newspaper advert with your real name in the paper?
Yeah, and my dress.
God, you would do that now, would you?
No, well, I didn't have a phone then, you see, so.
And so who answered the advert?
They just knocked on my door. It was apparently my half brother. And he brought this lady with him and her son, and she told me that she was my mum's best friend.
Okay.
But she told me that I was a mistake.
Who the friend told you were a mistake?
Yeah. She said, can I tell you, yeah? She told me that well, their dad was at the pictures, my dad was with their mum. That's how I came about.
So she was having an affair.
Yeah. And apparently my other dad was, his wife was having twins at the same time. So that's how I come about.
Oh, I see. So
Yes.
go on.
And their dad said it was either me or him. And in them days, she couldn't have coped with another baby on her own. So she chose to get me adopted.
And how did that make you feel?
Horrible.
Mm. Did you
And
have your
then,
own children by this point?
pardon?
Did you have your own children by this time?
I had one, yes.
Yeah.
And then this sister turned up, and she's schizophrenic or something. She goes off on things, you know. She's not right.
Right.
Then I carried on seeing my brother, but
Yeah.
he kept trying it on with me.
Did it?
Yeah.
Golly.
So I moved.
You moved out of the town that you were living in?
I moved out of the house into another one, and I never told him.
Right. So you've not met any birth family since then?
Yeah, I met my sister and her husband, and he tried it on with me as well. So I didn't go to see them anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, and he started sending me funny letters, and then he got hold of me, my mum that adopted me, and told her everything. And I didn't want them to know anything, and he told them.
That's not very fair, is it?
No, so my mum fell out with me, kind of thing, and wasn't very happy.
No, I should imagine that was very difficult for her.
Yeah.
Being told by a stranger what was going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, people, I don't know why people do that.
Because he couldn't have me, I suppose. They were getting back at me. But I haven't seen him since. And I've got another brother as well. He lives in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Him and his wife, she's not English. I can't remember what she is, but they came and I met them in town. I haven't seen them since, neither, and that's about 7 years ago.
So where do you stand now? Do you have any contact?
No. I've been trying to trace my dad's family because I know he died. He died young. He died at 50, and my mum died in her 50s as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Because I've got a death records and everything. I've got me adoption papers and everything. Everything's in there. And some of it was quite hard reading.
I can imagine. So so you never met your birth mother?
No, she died 2 years before I tried to contact him.
Oh, such a shame, isn't it, when that happens?
Yeah, and I found out she had a bad heart, and then I found out my dad had a heart attack. I know his last name, but he's on my papers. He's put a different first name down, so he's been told by 2 different names, and his house never existed.
Oh, so it's a fake address.
Kind of, yeah. I found out he paid for me for a little bit, and I know that I've got some half sisters and brothers somewhere in Bradford, somewhere. But it's trying, because I wouldn't mind trying to find them. But I did try and go through every single person with the last name on Facebook. But if they don't know I exist, they're going to say they don't know. You know, I'll never find them that way.
I wonder, have you tried doing this DNA?
No.
The ancestry DNA?
No. Well, is everybody's DNA on there?
Well, only if they've put it on there.
Right. But no, I haven't.
No, so that might be a place to start, mightn't it?
Yeah.
And I suppose it must be difficult if you've got a fake name and a fake address.
Yeah. I've got his last name, and I have got 2 names, but I don't know which way around they go. If you know what I mean, I don't know. Yeah, so it's quite hard, and I know that it was a dustbin man, but I can't find records of that neither.
Of what? A bin man, did you say?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, well, that's interesting. So, and also, is there like an area in Bradford that he would have been living? You know, where your mum was living, your birth mother, and where she was living, he would have been living surely around that area.
I think so. I'm not sure.
So there must be some local people that, you know, that you would think that would remember.
Yes.
But I can imagine it's quite exhausting emotionally and physically to keep up the search.
Yeah, well, as I got older, it got stronger and stronger that I wanted to find out who my mum was, and eventually you do it. I couldn't not do it, but it took a lot of time for me to be able to do it. I had to do it at the right time,
Of course.
and because I was on my own, it was quite hard. They all came to house, and I didn't know that I could have got help with that.
Oh, that's interesting. So what help could you have got from that for that?
Social services said they would have helped me and met them when they're there, instead of me sending a letter out and then just all appearing at my house. You know. Yeah.
So for the listeners, I don't suggest that you put your name and address on an advert.
No.
I do know that, I mean, when I found my birth mother, I went back to the adoption society that I had been adopted out of, and they found the records for me and gave them to me, as well as a book to read about adoption reunion, which I read. And so I was 28 when I started that process, and I didn't then pursue anything until I was till I was 32 or 33. And then I went back to the Adoption Society to say I was ready for the next stage. And they then wrote, I mean, I was very lucky because my birth mother was still living in the same house that she'd grown up in. So she was very easy to trace. So they wrote to her and she phoned them immediately. And we struck up a correspondence by letter before we met. And I wouldn't say the Adoption Society were, they weren't really helpful, but they were helpful in as much, they weren't helpful emotionally, but they were helpful in as much as they did the intermediary work, the mediating.
Yes.
Because and I hear a lot of people, or see a lot of people on Facebook, messaging their relatives, and that must be quite confusing for the person that receives the message.
Yeah. If I'd have done it earlier, I would have seen my mum, but I didn't get my birth records and that till years and years after. It's only about 5 years ago since I got my birth records.
Right.
And she sat me down and read a little bit. She said I might get upset about it. I was shocked, but and then me and my friend went and I got a death record of my mum.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just want to find out who my other halves are. My dad's side.
Yes.
Not because it's going to get too late.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you there.
Yeah. But I wondered all my life about them, always. And it's strange, but people ask me what I feel, and I say, I hate her, but I love her because she's my mum. If you understand.
Well, there's such a fine line between hate and love, isn't there?
Yeah, I hated her for what she did and stuff. But you always love your mum even if you don't know her. Because she gave birth to me, so I loved her that way. If you can understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm sure the listeners absolutely understand what you're saying as well. She you have that common bond, don't you, of being carried by her
Yeah.
for 9 months and being given birth to. And then is it really hate that
I don't know. I don't really know deep down. When I say I hate her, I did hate her because she gave me away.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you think deep down she was my mum and you love her as well. I don't know if you can love and hate at the same time, but I
I
can.
do think you can.
Yeah.
Did you have a difficult childhood?
Yes. My mum and my dad that adopted me, he used to eat my mum and I used to lay crying every night. That wasn't good.
No.
And then my mum divorced and she married again, and he never liked me. My mum sat me down and says he's never liked you. So he took me out and I was only 15. I haven't done anything wrong much. So I went to live with my grandma in Bridlington.
Right.
So, and I still feel left out. I always used to look at families and think, I wish I were like them. Still had the mum and dad, or the mum that they've always been with, you know, the mum that
Yeah.
had them. And I always used to feel really jealous over that, you know. And when people say my mum died so and so ago, and I said to them, well, at least you knew your mum. I never got to meet mine.
Yes.
It's a big thing, you know. Even though they've been brought up with a mum and lost them, I've lost my mum and never known her.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I
Which
always
is,
say that to them. If they're upset and that, I always say, well, at least you got to meet your mum. You know, some people don't. I said I never did. You know, so I think it makes them feel a little bit better when I say that.
so the title of your show is Lost, and that
Yeah,
encompasses quite a lot, doesn't it?
yeah.
What does it mean to you?
Before I had before I had my two sons and my grandson, I felt like I didn't have anybody. I just felt I just didn't have anybody at all, you know, and I did feel lost. But now I've had my two sons and my grandson, they're part of me now, so I've got a part of me now where I never had before.
Yeah.
Which means a lot, you know. I did have when I had trouble with my mum and my sister telling me that I shouldn't be doing that, shouldn't be going out with them, and shouldn't be going out with it. I got so down, and I tried taking my life a few times.
Oh, golly.
Yeah, 11 times it was.
11?
Yeah, and that were about 2 years ago since I did that.
Was that through the lockdowns that you?
I did. I was doing it before then as well. I just didn't feel, you know, it still affects me, you know. But I feel a bit better knowing I've got my grandson now.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gone so long without, so I'm just hoping I don't get down again and do it, because I'm on tablets now for that.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you're getting help for that.
Yeah, definitely. But it's funny, when you want to do it, you just do it. You don't think about it. You just do it. But it's being adopted and that. some people say it were good for them, and I were glad I were adopted in a way, because the family that I met, I'm glad I wasn't with them. But Miss Auntie said, well, I'm different. I wouldn't have been the same as them because I'm totally different to them. That might be because I've got a different dad.
Quite possibly.
Yeah, but it still hurts. You never get over it.
No, how has it affected, you know, apart from obviously giving you mental health problems, how else has it affected you?
Like I say, I still feel lost. Like I'm on, yeah, I do. I feel lost. Like I don't know. And I know when I go to see my mum, I went to see my mum yesterday and my sister.
Yeah.
My mum's all for Jane. She's all for my sister, you know. I can't do it right, more or less. I shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be doing that. And then my sister, I asked her if I could go out with her one Christmas, and she said I had to be invited. So I don't think that's right. So
have you ever told them how you feel?
Yeah, so I did say one day, I got so upset about it. I just said, don't tell me who to go out with and not to go out with. I went, I don't tell you, you don't tell me, I'll go out with who I want. And she hasn't said out since. I actually spoke up for once.
Good for you.
Yeah, but I still feel like I'm a bit lower down than everybody else, you know. But I think that's adoption as well. That's a big part of it.
So would it be fair to say that you don't feel good enough?
Yeah, dead on.
And that you don't belong.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
I think these are often the feelings that we have, and that we are also desperate for approval. So we people please and don't have any boundaries and allow people to, you know, ride roughshod all over us and take advantage of our good nature. And there comes a point when actually you've had enough. You kind of feel that you're backed into a corner. And I don't know about you, what happens when when you're backed into a corner and you've got nowhere else to go. What generally happens is you come out angry.
Yeah.
And fighting.
Yeah.
Would that be something that's happened for you?
It has. Eventually it did. After years of it, I just stood up for myself. And I felt a lot better after that.
Yeah.
Because he always talked to me like I'm a little kid kind of thing. Yeah, just because I hadn't had a good job and I brought my kids up on my own, and my sister's got she had a really good job and she's worked 24 hours and that, and she always pulled me down, you know. And she still does. Yeah, she still does now, pull me down sometimes. She'll make remarks.
And so what do you stand up for yourself now, do you?
Not all the time. I've got to be pushed into it, kind of thing. I've got to wait while it builds up and builds up. Because I'm not a person that'll tell anybody off or anything. It takes me. That's why I was so proud of myself saying that to my sister. First time I've ever done it.
Yeah. And so that made you feel good.
Yeah. I think it shocked everybody, to be honest.
Yeah, I bet it did.
Yeah.
If they're not used to it, and you know, just being able to tell you what to do and what have you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when do you find that you have a lot of thoughts racing around your head? Or is that not something that happens for you? You know, when somebody's telling you off, do you criticize yourself and put yourself down, or you just think, oh, they're being silly again?
I just put myself down.
Yeah.
I get upset, and that was the first time I took my tablets. When my mum actually found out when that lad got hold of my sister on Facebook and told her adopted, and it all came out then. So my mum wasn't very amused, so we had a fallout. So I went into town and I was really upset that my mum found out and that he'd done that, and I just took an overdose.
Right, you're admitted to hospital.
Yeah, so that's the first time it started.
So what would you want to say? What would you really want to say to those people that did that?
Tried to commit suicide, you mean?
No, for the people that, you know, that were the catalyst of you taking that overdose.
Yeah. It's not worth it. But at the time you think it is. Everybody's individual. Some people will, you know, I mean, if you're doing it for problems, if it's certain people, just think to yourself, they aren't any better than you. Nobody's better than anybody else.
No.
And whether they've got a big job or whatever, it does not matter. Nobody's better than anybody else. Just keep saying that to yourself, you know. Don't let them try not to let other people pull you down to that point where you'll do that. Because I was all right until then. I was fine. But everybody's got different things going on, as well as this kind of stuff, adoption and stuff. But some people that can't really. I mean, I never took it really good from being 10. I've always felt not part after that. I wish I'd never known sometimes.
Yeah.
But some people don't care. Some people are quite happy how they are and they're not bothered. You know, they don't want to meet the family or anything, just want their adopted family because they're being brought up really well, really good. And some people are like that, whereas me, I wasn't happy with that. But I would say just do what your gut feeling says. If you want to meet them and it's gone on for years and you kept thinking, I need to do it, I always say do it before it's too late.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but think about what you're doing first. You've got to really want to do it, because it's not a fairy tale like you see on TV. Everybody meets and they're loving each other and cuddling each other. It isn't like that. It's not like that at all. You know, I had no feelings whatsoever when my brother cuddled me, because he was only my half brother anyway, but same mum, but I had no feelings whatsoever. It's not what you see on telly at all. You know?
No, I agree with that. Do you think though that you know, talking about feelings, do you think possibly that you could have numbed your feelings. Over the years, you've numbed them so much that you now don't feel?
Yeah. When I was, how old was I? I was 17 when I was living with my grandma, and it was my grandma that told me my brother tried to contact me. My mum didn't tell me. My grandma did. Because I was saying I want to meet him and that, but I wasn't old enough. I wasn't strong enough. When it come down to it, I was too scared to do it. You know, I had to wait. Well, I was a bit older and I knew exactly what I'd let myself. Well, I didn't know exactly what I was letting myself in for, to be honest. Like we're saying, it's not everybody's got different. Everybody else is different story. You know.
Yes.
Some people have had to give the babies up because they were too young, or whatever, you know. All different people are different, you know, why they've done it and stuff. But I didn't like it because I was told I was a mistake because my mum had an affair, and that really hurt me, you know.
So that stayed in your mind.
Yeah, all the time. Yeah.
But if we think about it, aren't the majority of babies a mistake?
Yeah. Well,
you know, they don't, unless you're absolutely planning 100%. It's never cut and dried whether you're going to get pregnant at that point, is it?
No. But a lot of women, if they get pregnant with a boyfriend, you know, they get them adopted. But I was angry that my mum could do that, and then they both had an affair, and then they give me away. You know, that's why I was angry.
So you think it was selfish of them?
In a way, yes. But in them days, it was, I suppose, harder. But she shouldn't have. I was angry because he shouldn't have had an affair, and she shouldn't have had an affair anyway. Because his wife were having twins the same time as me.
Yes.
So, I was. That's why I felt like that, like I was a mistake, because I was definitely a mistake. You know.
Yeah.
It's kind of, if you're younger and you get pregnant, that's a mistake. Yes. You can accept that a bit better. But when your mum and your dad's had an affair together, and that's how it came about, and they were both married, that's harder in a way.
I agree.
Yeah, so yeah.
So how old were you when you had your children?
When I had my first one, I was 25-ish.
Okay.
And then 8 years after I had my other one.
Right.
Same time as my sister had her twins.
So when they were growing up, did memories come back to you about your own childhood that you needed to unpack?
No.
You didn't get that?
No, I didn't. No, because I hadn't met them. I don't think I'd met them then. I think Jamie was about 2 years old when I met them. So I never even thought about wanting to meet them until, I don't know, it took years to build up and build up.
So what was the tipping point?
I have no idea. I think it were because of my mum and my sister. Like I was saying, I always felt a bit out of it, and it were because my sister's she never comes to house. She never comes to see me ever. I've got to go there. But no, it were there years since I were about 18. I've been wanting to do it and backing away, and it's always been in the back of my mind that I were going to do it. And then just one day, I don't know why. I went into Bradford and put an advert in paper because there were no mobiles then. And I didn't have an house phone,
Right.
so I didn't know I could have got help. So I just did it on my own. Worst mistake ever, really. But you know, they all come banging at your door then. Even my sister wanted to move in with me, and I never even met her, you know. And I just said, oh no, you know. But she's been in loads of mental homes. And I found out my two half brothers, they were in Borstal a lot when I was born. So that's why I was saying, in a way, I'm glad I were adopted.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't have been brought up like them. No chance. But in another way, when you're there and you live, you don't think of it like that, do you?
No, it's just your family, isn't it? That's what you had.
Yeah. So, but I say to people, you know, if you want to trace them, wait until a day where you think, I've got to do it. I want to really do it, and then do it. You know, you can't just think, oh, I want to trace. You can't just do it just like that. It needs to get into more into your head, kind of thing. And it gets stronger and stronger, and you just think, I've got to do it. So I did it. A few times I wanted to, but I backed out of it. For oh no, I can't. A day's got to come when you think, I'm gonna, you know. Don't let people talk you out of it. If it's what you want to do it. Don't let people influence you. Unless they know anything about it, you know. But I always say it's you. It's your heart that wants to do it, you know. Then you need to, or else you regret it. Like I did, I was 2 years too late. And I wish I'd have done it when I thought I'm going to do it, but I just wasn't quite there, you know. So
I think also one of the key things is to have support. It sounds like you didn't have any support either.
I didn't have any. I did it all on my own.
Yeah.
All the way through. And it turned out not good. All of it didn't turn out good. So
you were dealing with all that emotional turbulence on your own.
Yeah.
So do you think if you'd had support, you would have done it earlier, you know, when you were younger?
I don't know. I really don't know. No, I don't know. I wasn't ready properly, I don't think.
Right.
I might have still backed out of it.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, you've got to, it's a right time to do things like that, I think.
I do agree with you there, yes.
Yeah, you don't just think one day I'm going to do it and do it. It's a big thing, you know. And
it is a big thing, yes.
Yeah, you've got to be strong, kind of thing. You can't just do it. And I want strong enough to do it on my own at that time.
Well, you did do it on your own.
Yeah, eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, for all the listeners, I think, you know, personally, it's I know that there's a lot of search angels out there and there's a lot of support these days. So please, before you start any reunion tracing, make sure that you have a support system in place, and you're doing self-care. Self-care is so important. So what are you doing for self-care?
Me?
Yes, what's your go-to for self-care?
Oh, I don't really. I go on a Saturday to watch them singing in town. I go to my mum's on a Wednesday, come back Thursday. Rest of the time, I just stop at home watching telly. I don't really do anything else. I've only just started more or less liking myself, if you know what I mean.
I do.
I never bothered with myself at all. You know, I used to think what my sister used to think I was. That's how I felt. You know.
Well, your sister, you know, she's not the one living in your head. That's you. And
Yeah.
she, don't let her rent space in your head. She's not paying you for it. And
Yeah.
so,
And I've done a lot for them. You know. I've done a lot. Like when my mum's husband died in front of us all, I stopped with my mum for weeks on end. You know, while she was getting round to being able to stop on her own again. I've done a lot for everybody, but when I want anything doing, I have to do it myself. So I've always fended for myself.
it sounds like you do a lot for other people, and it's time for you to start putting yourself first.
Yes, definitely. Because you get no thanks for it sometimes, you know. But when you've got your own family, it makes everything else don't matter, you know. You just look after your own family.
Yeah,
Look, and your grandson or granddaughter, whoever. They've made me feel I'm not alone now because I've got my two sons and my grandson. So they're part of me.
Yeah.
But before I had them, I didn't have anybody part of me, you know. So I just felt totally alone.
It's a very odd feeling, isn't it?
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah. It's a lot of people that are adopted don't understand. They don't understand at all. Some of them. Like my sister had said, you know, well, you know, my mum adopted you. You've always had a mum. Does it matter? You know, things like that. I just don't understand really. Unless you're in that position.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Nobody that has not been adopted will understand what an adopted person would go through.
no, it's dead right that. Yeah. But I always say, you know, live your life, you know, and what comes around, if you want to do it, go through the pros and cons, you know, because it doesn't always come out how you want it to, you know. Work out if it doesn't go right, what you're gonna do, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I just went into it, you know, and it all came round like I don't know what. There were everything going on, you know. Found out loads of stuff that I didn't want to know, and so I wasn't prepared really.
Right.
I just went in with it. Yeah, I just went in thinking, oh, you'll love your brother, you know. They'll come and you'll cuddle them and this and that. It ain't like that, you know.
It wasn't like that for you. What I found reading some books and listening to, there's lots of stuff about reunion these days, and so I think that's a really great place to start and prepare it, like you say, preparing yourself and having no expectations of how it's going to pan out.
Yeah, that's right. If I'd have been meeting my mum on her own, it might have been different. I might have ended up crying and cuddling her. You don't know. But our brothers and sisters, it's a bit different. Because I've got a different dad, But I have got a photo of my mum. She's not a bit like me at all.
Is she
But
not?
no, she's small. I'm tall.
Yeah.
I think I'd be more like my dad, to be honest. Well, I think so, but she ain't what I thought. No. And she was only young. She's always had a bad heart, and she died when she was 52, I think.
Right. That's very young, isn't it?
Yeah. And my dad died the same year, apparently. In 80s. He died of a heart attack as well or something. So, but they checked me for it when I was born. I know, fine.
Well, that's good then.
Yeah.
You've got a long life to come.
Yeah. So, my adoption papers, there's a lot of reading in it. And I'm going to pass it on to Craig, my youngest, to keep. I don't want anybody else to get hold of it. My mum don't know nobody knows I've got it, apart from next door. Yeah, and a death certificate and that. So all I want to do is try and find out about my dad's side now.
Yes.
I suppose all my brothers and sisters are most likely be nearly dead by now because they were older than me. So it makes it harder. It gets too late to do things, And like I said, his wife didn't know. His kids won't have ever known, I don't suppose. So when I put advertising it on Facebook and that, they just say no in him because they don't know I exist. Right. So that makes it harder.
Yeah, and you've got no photograph of him.
No. And there's a lot of the same name on there. There's a lot of them with the same name. So, and when I've gone on saying looking for my dad that died in blah blah, and whatever, and they go, it want him because they don't know that I exist, so they're going to say it want him, aren't they?
Well, so, I suppose it would be, the next thing would be, well, he had twins.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah. I heard that when my mum had me, he just had twins as well.
Yeah.
So they'll be the same age as me.
They would, wouldn't they?
Yeah. But trying to find them, I don't think I'll be able to do it, to be honest. It's too hard.
I wish you the best of luck, and we can always, we always live in hope that one day you will find them.
Yeah. Yeah. I wouldn't mind really. But I'll see what I can do.
Yes. So I've loved talking to you. It's been absolutely fabulous. If you could give any advice, apart from the advice that you've already given to our listeners about tracing, have you got anything else that you'd like to impart before we finish?
Just don't do it alone like I did. Get help.
Yeah.
Even if it's your husband with you or whoever, you don't do it on your own like I did it.
Yeah. I really agree with that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's been an amazing talk, and we have
Yeah.
covered a lot of ground.
Yeah, can I just say one thing?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's right weird, but all them that are adopted, I feel like they're my brother and sisters in a way. If you understand, when they're adopted, I feel I feel like they're a part of me in a way, kind of. A big family, should I
We
say?
understand each other, don't we?
Yeah, yeah, and that's how I feel anyway. So
yeah, you're not the first person to have said that, and I think that's a lovely way to look at it, and how we can support each other and tell our stories and find some solace between us in our stories that we tell.
Yeah. So I hope I've done all right for you.
You've done absolutely brilliant. So we're going to finish up now. You've been listening to Real and Raw Adoptee Stories with me, Emma Greenslade. I have a lovely course that really helps adoptees to find the limitations that they're holding within themselves, and it's in the foundations of Limited to Limitless. It's a free course. I'm going to pop the details into the show notes, and I'd love to see you over there. We have a Facebook group with some supportive community, and ways to give yourself some self-care, which is key in my opinion when you are working through many different emotions and circumstances and situations, as we found today with our beautiful guest. So thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next show.
You're listening to Real and Raw Adoptee Talks with Emma Greenslade.